Greetings and good Monday afternoon, the 24th of July, 2023, still the third decade of the 21st century. I apologize if the fan blows across the microphone. It's warm and humid in southern coastal Carolina, so I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to forego my preamble of stating why I like to mention that it's the third decade of the 21st century. Today's the 24th of July. It would have been my son Logan's 16th birthday. He also happens to share the same date of birth with one Summer Glau, who, for some of us, played River Tam on Firefly and Serenity, a beloved show. While I could try to make this video all about my son and remembering my son and, you know, trying to conjure up thoughts and ideas of what might have been. I mean, when he passed away at 7 years, 7 months, and 11 days, he had some physical characteristics lacking in what would be coordination. He had some mental characteristics where at his age he wasn't quite at his age. Now, when we almost lost him the first time back in 2008, there's every chance that he suffered a little bit of mild brain damage from a lack of oxygen, which developmentally could have set him back. So I don't know if he would have been your average 16-year-old, if he would have been at a point in life, if he would have eventually overcome certain obstacles to get to the point where he could get a driver's license. I know October 18th of last year marked the exact amount of time he'd been gone as he was alive. October 18th of last year marked 7 years, 7 months, and 11 days from the day he passed away, the exact amount of time he was with us. And every day since then, starting on the 19th of October, he's been gone longer than he was with us. And today he would have been 16. Aside from that, part of the reason I bring it up is I remember some of the things I went through. And at the time, I didn't know. At the time, I guess you could say I couldn't see the forest through the trees, so to speak. I couldn't see what I was going through. What I can tell you is I felt alone. I felt isolated. I felt like I had no one to talk to and no one to lean on. As far as the challenges that a married couple would face, if you desperately want to know, what I will share with you is this. You could say that there was quite a bit of jealousy on my behalf. My wife has a few friends from back home that work remotely from home, and they just seemed to have plenty of time and opportunity to be there for her. The couple of friends that we had, we'll say locally, they seemed to have nothing but time and opportunity to be there for her. The one friend I had locally at the time, because we were living up towards Raleigh, didn't quite understand that I was hurting, didn't quite understand that I just needed someone to maybe just go get a beer, whatever. You know, he just took the typical guy route, like, well, he'll figure it out. My friends from back home, same thing. You know, they all had jobs, they all had lives, and as much as I'm sure they wanted to be there and help me out, there was a limit to what they could do because, well, they had to work, they had to do chores, they had their families, they had things that they had to do, which is part of being a man. So I'll just leave it at that for those of you that like to play the gender pronoun game. As far as other difficulties we went through, I had some difficulties with my employment. I won't get into the details because I've probably done it numerous times on this channel, but I had some difficulties with my employment, and I just wanted to take a break. I just wanted to have some me time. And instead of my wife recognizing it for what it was, you know, she would make comments like, well, you can't because we need the money and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, oh, great. Thank you. So not only was I the only one to basically earn a paycheck during our time in the military, but now that I'm out of the military, the same expectation applies. I have to suck it the fuck up while you do whatever the fuck you want to do. I mean, we got through it, but that's kind of what it felt like at the time. So why do I bring all that up? Over the weekend, we went to a concert in Virginia Beach where we saw Fall Out Boy. The opening act was Carr, C-A-R-R. I'm guessing they're a relatively new band. Followed by Royal and the Serpent. Followed by Bring Me the Horizon. And then, of course, Fall Out Boy. It was a almost 4-hour drive to get there. And then, of course, almost a 4-hour drive to get back. The concert was great. And then yesterday, after the concert, we went out shopping, and we went over to the mall, specifically Suncoast, where one of our friends that works there was having his last day, and we wanted to go say goodbye and whatnot. And a young girl approached us, specifically because she saw my daughter's shirt, and she just wanted to get involved in the conversation. And while she was awkward, I'm not going to deny that she wasn't awkward. I may be way off. I may be wrong on all accounts. But my general interpretation, when you can sometimes recognize yourself in others, my general interpretation is that she either is or has gone through something. She herself is feeling somewhat alone, perhaps somewhat isolated. She needed to feel a connection. She just wanted to talk to somebody, and she wanted to feel recognized. I could be wrong. I could be way off, but that was my general interpretation. Was based on all of her mannerisms, was that she had been through something or was going through something and was feeling alone and isolated and just wanted to make a connection. So I did my very best to maintain a sense of normalcy in spite of the awkwardness. And it was awkward, but I didn't have to exacerbate the issue. And I tried to do a warm handoff with our friend who had to be on the clock anyways. And I hope he was picking up on everything as well. Maybe he wasn't. And like I said, I could be way wrong. But I bring that up because having kind of recognized some of the awkwardness in her that I recognized in myself. And what's sad is you don't always recognize it in yourself until it's after the fact. But sometimes there are people who just need a momentary connection. They just need to feel accepted in this world. They just feel the need to make a momentary connection. And it really doesn't cost anybody that much other than maybe a little bit of your time. And tragically, sometimes we don't always have it to give. I apologize for the light. I still got to get that fixed. And sometimes we don't always have it to give, but you give what you can. And you don't have to make somebody's day worse. And that's all we tried to do. Yet, at the same time, I don't think my wife and daughter were picking up on anything. I think my wife and daughter were kind of like... And like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she just is awkward. What I will say is this. I think we've done an equally good job as we have a bad job, where there's almost a perfect level of balance. We've done a really good job at identifying certain socially awkward or mental illnesses that were previously taboo and previously kept in the closet. But then I also think we've overdiagnosed and made it trendy and made it like something that people really want to have. Like, you almost can't run into somebody, oh, well, I have blase, 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 blah. Oh yeah, well I've got blase, 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 blah. And you'll see like 5 people competing over who's mentally more fucked up than the other. And it's like, really? Really? So, while at the same time we've done a good job of saying, you know what, this stuff exists, you're okay, you're still a regular person, you just have, you know, you just have something quirky about you. You have a quirk. And then, of course, on the equal and opposite side of the spectrum, you know, oh, well, it's trendy, and I want to be quirky, and I want to have a quirk. Oh, yeah, well, I have more quirks than you. Be that as it may, you may find yourself in a position where something's a bit awkward. And you have to ask yourself, well, where is this going? What is this person's intent? Is this really killing my time? Is this really bothering me? Is this really all that? Because you never know. It just may be somebody in need of a connection, and that small amount of time you spend with them making them feel connected could have an overwhelmingly positive effect on them. I still believe in inner strength. I still believe in inner resiliency. I still believe in the capacity for the human being to do greatness. I still believe in the capacity for the human being to rise above challenges. But even then, the human condition has also demonstrated a propensity for community, for a sense of belonging. Which is why when people prefer isolationism, when people prefer aloneness, they're considered strange. Well, maybe that is their quirk. That is what makes them unique, is they don't like other people. They don't enjoy having to deal with other people. They prefer solitude, and that's fine. But some people may need a sense of community, and when they're feeling a loss of community, they may invade your space awkwardly, inappropriately, but without harm, without malice. And I think there's still a polite way you can deal with them. I think there's still a humane way to deal with them. That is to say, however, I'm not saying you have to overindulge. I think we're at a point right now in the 3rd decade of the 21st century where we are entertaining some pretty radical concepts. All right? And I think we're overindulging, but I don't want to get into that. As I remember my son today, and my family and I spend time together remembering him, I remember what I went through within the immediate days, weeks, and months after his loss, and how I tried to get through that, how I tried to deal with it, and how I more than likely bothered several people. I more than likely upset several people. I more than likely rubbed a bunch of people the wrong way with no intent of my own, with no open desire to bother them. But, you know, people being inherently selfish creatures, people being inherently, you know, narcissistic without knowing it, you know, just probably turn their noses up at me and just, you know, oh my God. And I got to tell you, you know, when I lived in the Raleigh area for a southern state, the Raleigh area no longer really represents what you would call the South anymore. So many Northerners have moved in and brought their Northern ideas and their Northern ways that the greater Raleigh area is not really the South anymore. And it's a lot of that uppity, you know, self-entitled, narcissistic, just attitude. And some areas are worse. But you know what? If you can get over yourself and extend somebody a little courtesy and extend somebody a little humanity, it can go a long way. You may help somebody through a rough time, and it costs you nothing. And whether you believe in a deity or you believe in positive energy and whatnot, I don't think there's anything wrong with creating good karma for yourself. And that's all I've got. I don't mind being very open. I don't mind putting myself out there. If it helps anybody, if it helps to hear this, if it helps to participate in my channel, I'm not monetized. I'm a little guy. I don't have a paywall. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to get involved in conversations, I'm wide open. While I do enjoy other commentary, I realize some of these people are too big. They only respond if they do have, like, if they have those super chats where, like, you pay for them to read your comment, or if you subscribe financially to their channels, and then and only then Do you potentially maybe have your voice heard? No. If you want to be heard, by all means, come here, leave a comment, get involved in the conversation. And sometimes we have to have these painfully difficult conversations. And I promise if you do leave a comment, I will read, react, and respond. And if you do, I appreciate it. You're awesome. Till next time, stay safe.